are very critical, all right? I agree with her that in a political contest, the winner is only one. And that is true, you never have a number two. But it's very important for us to analyze these 10,000 people, all right? Remember, in by-elections, it's majorly not about the candidates, it's about the political parties and also about the leaders, the political party leaders, all right? Right now, I don't even know the candidate. The name of the candidate who won, but I know he's a UDA candidate. That is a battle between, for example, William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes.
And
it's a battle at the national level.
It's a battle at the national level. It's a battle between DCP and UDA. The question is, these 10,000 people who didn't vote for UDA, there's something they're telling us. There's something they're telling us that, one, they do not believe in UDA. And if Rigathi Gachagua was on the ballot, that would be the candidate they would elect. All right? The other thing I want to tell my good sister is that just like I've said, DCP is a very young party, less than 1 year old. It gets into a region, gets 10,000 votes.
A predominantly UDA region.
Correct, where ODM has had candidates before, but this time they shied. Because after doing their polls, after doing the analysis, maybe they couldn't even get to 1,000. But we must not undermine. And it's true, Rigathi Gachagua was able to mobilize 10,000 votes through, for example, phone calls, through great mobilizers. You cannot tell us that Rigathi Gachagua needs to go to Emurua Dikirr to do much, or to Western Kenya. If he's being attacked by this government in Central Kenya where he belongs, if goons and police are being sent to churches in Central Kenya to go and attack and kill him, what would happen if he goes to Emurua Dikirr? We are not very naive to the fact that the greatest politician today is His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, and he's under immense attack. And we wouldn't want to risk to send him to regions where it would make it possible.
Okay. Yes, allow me to move it to...
Let me finish this.
I can see where this is heading. I'll come back to you.
Allow me to contradict
I don't want you to argue. I want you to analyze the numbers we see from...
Yeah, I just wanted to give him some clarity, which he should, him being a political scientist, he should do his research very well.
It's well done.
In Emurua Dikirr, in 2013, Ngeno, the late Ngeno Joanna, won with KNC, but they voted Ruto for the presidential in the Jubilee. When you came in 2017, he won with Kanu, but on presidential election. So it doesn't necessarily mean if they voted for you for the 10,000 votes for DCP means it is then transferred directly to the presidency. If you study the politics of
Emurua Dikirr, Ruto had a candidate.
Do you disagree with that assertion that by-elections are mostly about the national contest and very little to do with the constituency? Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's more about the national. And it affects a youth, more someone like me. Yeah. You know, many times when they do such kind of by-elections, the big wings in the national government would always want to show them, or now they can take over. Mostly the national leaders, also in the presidential. So you realize now in Emurua Dikirr, whereby we are two strong candidates, DCP and UDA, supposedly there was another youth candidate who would want maybe to run in independent ticket, or rather another party. He will be swallowed out.
There were 3 other candidates, 5 in total, but no one is talking about the rest.
You get it.
Quite fairly young.
As a youth, those are challenges that we will discuss, because you realize now the DCP will channel money to the DCP candidate, UDA will channel finance to the UDA candidate, and therefore now the youth would want to give a try.
Are you saying that a young politician, an aspiring politician like yourself, would have a better chance at the general election as opposed to a by-election?
That is true, because you know the general election, for now, in by-election that happened in Emurua Dikirr, we do not have a presidential candidate for UDA, neither for DCP. So the attention goes to the by-election, and they have to influence it. All attention goes to in the country, the media, and it affects, in politics and more national politics, we have something called perception. You realize even the people you'll bring in to be partners, they do not necessarily have to bring votes from their region, but they'll give something like a national outlook, a perception. Like the other day, you were telling me that even the governor for Musalia Mudavadi is an ODM, so he's on an ODM ticket, but he was in Kenya Kwanza. So at times he did not have necessarily to bring his force, but we have to bring a national perception that then kind of party is strong and they are leading. And that's what happens with by-elections. So when we have such kind of attention that the national politics is pursuing, a youth might not be considered because we do not have experience in sales. Someone could be a first comer coming to vie, and therefore you might not be considered more on matters of being a flag bearer of the party, that you may give a name to the party nationally. You remember Auka Wanjiku came in to be a member of parliament. It was more a battle between President Ruto and Uhuru. And the other guy who had been in the ground, was it called Kariri, something kind of. He had to lose, despite the fact, suppose he was a good candidate.
Yeah. Alionya, would you advise a young aspiring politician to try try themselves out, their muscles in a by-election as opposed to a general election?
Yes, I would advise, and you know, it is a good litmus test for you to know, are people buying into your idea, or what more do you need to do before 2027? But even to add on to what my brother is saying, that we are at a disadvantaged position because of by-elections are more focused on the political parties. So what I would urge my fellow young people is join these political parties and marshal your muscles. I mean, don't go there as a weak candidate. Go there as a strong candidate, because the politics of this country is more of tribal blocks, or rather the political parties are of regions. So right now we know if you vie on a DCP ticket in Central, the chances of winning are higher. If you vie on a certain or an ODM ticket in Nyanza, the chances of winning are higher. So even as you're choosing a political party, be critical of what the people of that constituency are buying in terms of political ideology, and also relate with the people in those political parties very well. Because one problem with my fellow Gen Zs is you want to come to a political party and step on everyone's shoulder. You don't know their contribution in that political party. So if you can bring your value on the table clearly, so that they're able to know, oh, we can't do without Alionya, we can't do without Mosop. That is exactly how, and it takes time.
The way you give the chronology of the number of contests that Keter has taken part in.
And then lastly, I wanted to respond to my brother here. You know, you said Rigathi is hiding from visiting other regions because of goons and stuff. In 2027, it will even be worse. After the broad-based candidate wins, Rigathi will even have to hide from his central region. So excuses will always be given by losers, but winners will always be celebrating.
All right.
You know, in politics,